Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Hope and Coffee. I'm Hope, and as always, coffee. Today we have the little Argos mug. He's just in the room. He is doing his little thing, which is being a little king, being a little good boy. I just sat in there and had a little bit of dinner with him. It's kind of overcast. We had some storms come through earlier, which were pretty significant. So I kind of missed them because I was at work. Sadly, I did not get to enjoy them while I was here. But y'all know me. I love a good storm. I love all things kind of like moody and things like that. It's just such a like a comfort. I don't know what it is. I love a good rainstorm, but today, I wanted to talk a little bit about an article that I ran across on Google. And of course, that's kind of where I tend to get a lot of my news articles and things like that, because I find it's just a really great collection of news articles that kind of span all the different platforms. So I'm not sure where you all find y'all's news articles. Sometimes I look on Reddit. And, various platforms as well, but Google will tend to kind of like, even pull from Yahoo and things of that nature. So the one that I found is called The Wrath of Goodreads, and it says authors are at the mercy of people who didn't bother to read their works. And it kind of hit me because I am very avid on the Goodreads platform because of the podcast that I have, Books Are Magical, and also because I enjoy reading just in general. So after I've finished reading a book, and only after I have completed reading a book, will I leave a review. Now, especially if an author or publishing company has provided me with advanced reader copy, I do my due diligence to ensure that I always provide that feedback before the due date, before they kind of pull that publication, and before it's out for publish. So that is one of the goals that I always try to strive for, because as someone who is being trusted by these publishers and by these various authors and publishing companies and NetGalley, I feel like it's part of the agreement that I'm kind of signing up for, that in exchange for these advanced reader copies, and that I am in turn ensuring that I will do my very best to complete reading this book that I have applied for. They didn't just throw it at me, that I have had to apply for it, and I will do my best to read it and give them feedback before the date of publication, or at least the date that they say that the free copy, the advanced reader copy, expires. However, what's happening is people are going onto Goodreads. Now, sometimes they don't have these ARCs, these advanced reader copies, and sometimes they do, but they are kind of giving negative reviews even without reading the book sometimes. And that's what the article is about, is where some of these people, some of these young writers who have literally only just had their books hit these Goodreads platforms are having negative articles or negative reviews being published when no one would have even had the ability to have any sort of ARC in their hands. So this one particular girl, she said, even though she only just got her first proof copy at her house, it already had a review for 2 stars left by somebody who had personal discord with her. So simply because somebody just simply didn't like her as a person, they left a review for 2 stars because it was impossible for that person to have read the actual book. And so that's one of the downsides of Goodreads, is it has some kind of it has a little bit of negative power when it comes to those sorts of things, is you can rate it a 1 through 5 stars, 5 being the highest stars, is the best thing you've ever read, 1 being like worst thing you've ever read sort of thing. The bad thing about the Goodreads platform is they do not have half stars, where I have had numerous books in the most recent, like in my most recent past, like I would say in the past month, that I wish I could give like 4.5 stars because they're great, but I don't feel like they're perfect. And there are very few books that I find that are perfect, but I don't want to give them just 4 stars, because 4 means, yeah, they're good, but I really feel like there's a big difference between 4 and 5. So instead of dropping it down to a 4, I usually just bump it up to a 5, because I'd rather give the authors the higher rating at that point rather than the lower rating. So that's just my personal thoughts. I have found that some books that I didn't really enjoy seem to have really inflated sort of ratings, and I was like, did we read the same books? Whereas there were some books that I really enjoyed, and when I looked at the reviews, they had quite a bit lower than what I thought it should have had. And again, I'm sitting here thinking, like, what did people not like that I liked so much about this book? So it really is personal preference when you go onto this Goodreads site. It is one of the fewer. So as readers who want to be able to kind of rank and read these books and kind of get other readers' feedback, we've come down to the fact that we don't have as many options as like there have been in the past. I guess there are a couple other book review sort of websites, but there's not as many. I want to say there may or may not have been Readerly, or maybe it was Storygraph or something like that, but maybe one of them has gone by the wayside now. And so the thing is like we've had some that have gone away now, and now so Goodreads has been around for quite a while. But the thing is once these books start to even just go into production, and then they start to get that ISBN number, which is pretty much the barcode on the back of the book, that's like the international like book number, like it's gonna show up in the Goodreads pretty much system. However, that's when you can start reviewing it, whether it's actually available for public consumption yet or not. And so that can be detrimental to smaller authors who haven't yet had their works actually released. There are a couple authors that I think are way overly publicized, that I've read one book by them. I absolutely hated it. I'm not going to talk bad about the person. I'm not going to talk about the author. I'm just going to say everything I had read was great. When I actually encountered that author, I was like, this is terrible. I will never read this again. So, and then after that, I started reading a whole bunch more reviews of this is just garbage. So, it wasn't just me, but I couldn't understand why it got such rave reviews, and I still don't know to this day. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the world of books and book ratings and reviews. It's not always so cut and dry, but it is something that me and my podcast co-host, that's why we like talk about it so much. That's why we have our podcast. We really want you all to know why we do this, and when we make a review and a rating, that we are trying to be as forthright and honest with our reviews as possible. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all on the next page. Have a great one.